This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me, I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What is poppin', everybody? And welcome back to another special episode of the Only Friends podcast. Well, you know, it's me and my homie Tortu!
What's happening?
We is back in the building. What's poppin', Tort?
Oh, you know, we're here for another week of the WSOP.
Man, this
shit's going down.
Shit's been on and popping recently, and popping. The sidekick, you know, he's been out there a little bit in WSOP streets, but
yeah, he can't help himself.
But he comes back in here and he cries about the shit. Then he goes plays the tournament, gets like 14th, comes back in here, cries about the shit. Hey, sidekick.
You didn't know you need to wind it in?
Yeah,
that's why.
How'd that work out for you?
I mean, I'm on my way. I'm taking a page out of Brewer's book. Mm-hmm. You know, you just got to pay the penance up front.
You just can't fucking win.
I've never seen this before. We lost 50 people when we went live.
Well, they're over it.
It's because they wanted the countdown.
There were literally 50 people just waiting for the screen to go not black. And they're like, we're out. There's a show here. We're gone. I'm just here for the thumbnail. What a great thumbnail, by the way. Big shout out to my man Shredder taking care of us. New graphic designer.
What are you going to do with your free time?
I know.
You have free time now?
Extra 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Minimum. Maybe an hour. It depends on
how detailed you want the thumb to be.
He did a great job.
He did great. I saw that and I was like, I didn't even know that we hired him, and I saw that and I'm like, we must have hired somebody.
Yeah, he just reached out one day, I think. I'm not sure what.
Not that your thumbnails aren't good, but this is on a whole nother level.
You didn't think that I made that?
No.
You just don't have that eye.
Thought maybe it could pass. No,
it just looked more
I
professional.
truly wouldn't even know how to construct that.
I know.
Yeah, it's really good.
There are definitely like aspects of Photoshop that he uses that I don't understand.
It just
how
looks
it
more
works.
professional.
And it probably takes like 22 seconds for him to do.
No, it definitely takes a few hours.
I mean, when you're good at it, it doesn't take you that long.
He's undermining your work, Matt.
No,
when you're good
that's
at
the
it,
thing is mine doesn't take that long to make because I'm not very good at it. His for sure took a few hours.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about that.
I hope he comes back and says, "Yeah, it took 5 minutes."
I hope so too. I mean, as long as it's high quality, I don't care how long it takes him.
High quality vlogs,
right?
All right, let's get into it. Before we get into all the happenings from this past weekend, I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor this month, WPT Global. If you guys haven't already, be sure to check out their app for anybody who's in a qualifying territory. I have to tell you, I'm fortunate enough to have a whitelisted account where I get to play, and it is beautiful, guys. Awesome. It is so soft. Even Tom Wheaton can win. Definitely get on there. They're doing a couple guaranteed tournament promos right now, as well as cash games all the way up to the equivalent of what's roughly 25.50 no limit for USD. Very good games, anti-games, bomb pot games, you name it, they got it. It's definitely worth checking out. Use sign-up code Berkey11, or no, sorry, just Berkey. Use sign-up code Berkey. Click the link in the description below or hit hashtag WPT Global in the chat, and you'll be able to go sign up, get upwards of a $1,200 deposit bonus. Well worth every penny, I'm sure. Take advantage of that free money and get in there. Also, we have an academy on the docket. We're going to be doing one Labor Day weekend, September 1st through the 3rd. We're going back to the original format now.
That's it. 3 days.
No more Poker Out Loud. We're going to do one Poker Out Loud Academy a year, and that'll just be for returning attendees of previous academies. I think that the Poker Out Loud version is a little bit more advanced and requires the prerequisite of, you know, already having the baseline fundamentals that we teach at the academy, as well as getting comfortable playing on an RFID table, being able to speak and converse your strategy out loud. So we're going back to the old format. September 1st to the 3rd, head over to solveforwhy.io. Click the, what is it?
You can click on, honestly, if you just go over there and just start clicking, you'll find a link. There's top 15 of them. You click the top banner, you click on attend an event, you click on learn more, and then click attend events, you're gonna find it. Yeah.
Okay.
So
not many hoops to jump through. Just click something in.
Just go to academy.software.io and you should find it. If you can't find it, then you probably shouldn't attend the academy.
Wow.
Right. So this will be an 18-person academy. Day 1 through 3 will all be strategy construction in the morning. We'll spend about 4.5 hours walking through basic strategy construction day 1, pre-flop day 2, and then post-flop dynamics day 3. And then each afternoon you'll get to play on the RFID table. We'll be in the back doing commentary, pointing out the errors that you may be making, the things that you do well. You'll have that to study off of indefinitely moving forward, as well as a community on our Discord channel with all previous Academy attendees. So head there, sign up. Seats will go quick. Be sure to lock it up as soon as you are ready to commit.
Lock in.
Wow.
Lock it up.
So you're not going to Barcelona for 25K?
That's in August, no?
Oh, yeah, you're right. No, it's September 3rd.
Oh, probably not.
Right.
Seems like a near zero.
Let's go to Triton, London.
Might go to London. That's a possibility. What are the dates for that?
Beginning of August.
It's late July to early August.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I just wish it was somewhere else, not London.
Is there something immediately after London?
Yeah.
Triton?
Oh, I'm not sure if it's Triton, but I think there is a...
I thought Triton and Barcelona overlap, but apparently I was wrong.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to London?
EPT.
No.
EPT Barcelona is August 21st starts.
Okay, so there's no overlap there.
No.
I mean,
It's close.
maybe
There's some
close,
overlay, like a couple weeks.
Yeah. They are doing alongside Triton a World Series circuit in London.
Are they really?
Yeah, so it's going to be basically 2 tiers of buy-ins where you're going to have the high rollers and then you're going to have open field events that are going to be like, sub 5K.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Kind of cool. Might be an opportunity.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty interesting.
Triton's going to be huge. I think this is the one with the $1 million event, as well as what always turns into some juicy fucking cash games.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure we'll get to see televised. Maybe we'll even get to see the one and only Chris Brewer over there.
Wow.
Now that he's out of retirement.
He'll be there.
Maybe he's back in retirement now that he's rich. That's what I would do. If I retired, came back, won all the money, I would just instantly retire again.
He didn't even retire.
Yeah, he took some time off, got a job. I mean, when you get a job, you've retired.
I feel like the deck retired him.
Yeah. Well, the deck rehired him.
It
Damn
did.
sure did.
Yeah.
I can't believe
He deserved that 6 on the river.
I can't believe he hit that shit. I was so fucking mad because I would have never, if while watching it live, I would have been like, all right, he's never getting there. But there's this cunt in our group chat that just writes, Brewer won! 15 minutes before, so I'm just like, oh, he hit a 3-outer.
Yeah, that is true.
We're all looking at Landon.
Hi, Landon.
Everybody knows Macbeth dies. It's still a good play.
No, so that's like saying, listen, I love you, Landon, but spoilers are a thing. We don't like spoilers. People don't like spoilers.
Imagine you watched Bravo 30 minutes before fucking Brian and texted him every day. You think you'd be alive?
I'd be mad.
You think you'd be alive?
How would I even know 30 minutes? I would never know 30 minutes before Brian. Brian would be 3 hours before me.
That's true. Yeah.
Brian would kill you.
Just a heads up, I'm watching Titanic tonight.
Wait, you've never seen Titanic?
The ship goes down.
I've never seen it either, but yeah.
Come on, Conrad. Keep up with the jokes, man.
I didn't know that
I
one.
thought that was a good one.
I've actually never seen it.
I don't get that one.
You landed it, Guapo. Don't let Conrad discourage you.
Gracias.
I don't get it, buddy.
We all know the ship goes down. Okay.
So this guy's marking cards. He's a piece of shit.
Potentially.
Allegedly. Bravo's trying to get us outed.
Before we spend a bunch of time on the problems, I do want to give a huge congratulations to Brewer. I think that this was a long time coming, and honestly, it's kind of wild because Brewer hasn't been in the high stakes high roller scene for that long. Maybe this is year 3.5,
3, 4.
yeah, 4 tops, right? But he had so much concentrated negative variance in the early portions of him being a part of the high roller scene, bubbling some of the biggest events, in the industry. It's difficult not to feed that narrative of he's just the unluckiest guy on the junket, and that he's good but can't win. He didn't really have any major victories up until this point. He had a few like Triton wins. He won that. Honestly, his wins come off the back of like the craziest shit. I don't know if you guys remember, but like he won that short deck event where Rob Young showed him his hand pre-flop, and Rob had aces, correct?
He did.
And Brewer had queens,
Correct.
and was just like supposed to go broke.
Yes.
But Rob tabled his hand prematurely and then flopped quads.
Chris didn't go all in. He almost did. Rob said to Chris, like, let's sweat this hand together.
Yeah.
And then found aces.
Right.
And then called, and then flop came ace X.
Right. So Brewer got to like check fold with a few antes behind and goes on to just run it back up and win it. And the same shit happens yesterday. He randomized the spot where he was, I think, 5 of 6, and Dan Smith opened kings from the hijack. Brewer in the low jack had jacks and like I think 13 or 15 bigs maybe, and chose to he randomized a 3-bet not all in versus jam, which is already like really nuanced to begin with. I think most people are just going to be all in here, but for ICM purposes, I'm sure there may be a factor of
it feels close-ish. I don't know.
not being all in, I guess. So he randomizes the 3-bet not all in, puts in like 5 bigs, folds to the big blind, which is Arthur, and he has queens and is like middle of the pack stack and jams. And then Dan rejams.
Yeah.
So now, like, Brewer's like, I think Dan's just supposed to fold ace king off here. I'm probably in bad shape. I fold and leaves himself with like 9 blinds and fades like, auto death in this event. Now, he would have made a jack.
Wouldn't have mattered.
It wouldn't have mattered because Arthur made a queen. Poor fucking Dan, man.
Yeah.
Dan's going to become the new Brewer.
Yeah.
Someone,
Right.
It's like...
He really won his $7 million though.
You could see the bad luck being like shifted over to Dan.
So
right?
there's this episode in How I Met Your Mother called The Blitz, and one of the guys from Lost, the big chubby guy with the beard, plays the Blitz, and the notion of the Blitz is that he just has the worst timing. So every time something epic happens, he had just gone home and just missed it or whatever, and they just keep saying like, the Blitz or whatever. So there was a point where he was around for something cool, and the Blitz curse actually just like was lifted out of him and given to someone else. And I feel like that's what happened yesterday.
Sorry,
Brewer
Dan.
just like exercised his demons. And
the demons are like, we need to go somewhere else.
Yeah, they've now found a new host in
They
Dan
gotta haunt
Smith.
somebody else. Yeah.
It's very unfortunate for Pickleball Dan. Good news is he has a blistering pickleball career ahead
He
of him.
does, yeah.
And,
It's the conservation of demons, right? Demons can't be created or destroyed.
right, yeah.
Only shifted.
It's much like energy. So
Fucking pickleball.
So Pickleball Dan, now that you're really going to be butting up against it here in the poker streets, maybe we shift our attention to that pro pickleball career. I'm going to get a court built in my backyard. We can come drill every day.
There you go.
You're going to see him out on the circuit with a frying pan, beating the hell out of people. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Pretty soon there's going to be more money in the pickleball world than there is in the poker world.
I don't know if that's
Never.
not.
Sure.
Maybe
I
soon.
don't know if that's that outlandish.
That's
to
what I
think.
said. Right?
Yeah.
I think
Like
The whole Tom Brady, LeBron, pickleball coming in.
it's a really, really hot sport that's growing rapidly. The thing is like we've kind of seen this before with things like cornhole, but the problem with cornhole is the game's too simple.
yeah,
Have we? And it also
right.
wasn't mainstream.
Well, it was mainstream. Yeah, you're right. It was like a cult following in the sense that it was like very popular amongst college kids, bar leagues, things like that.
The middle
And then-
of nowhere. That's where it was popular.
No, that's not
South
true.
Carolina, North Carolina,
Bro.
Pittsburgh. Absolute middle of nowhere places,
You're literally talking about like 95% of the country. It's like just not New York and LA.
Well, middle of nowhere.
Literally the only places where cornhole is not just played at every single barbecue on earth is LA and New York.
I actually never saw a cornhole board until after I moved out of the tri-state area.
That's because you didn't go to college.
I moved to North Carolina. That's the first time I saw one. There was definitely none in New York, period.
Where would
Period.
you put a shuffleboard on this list of games that
Dead.
may
Yeah,
not picked
no.
up traction?
Just dead. I think cornhole.
Cornhole belongs in like the category with like darts
Yeah.
and pool
Yeah.
and that kind of
What
stuff.
about
Yeah.
curling?
Right? It's a
Curling is not American.
It's not, but it's close.
like cornhole is like something you do while you drink.
Yeah,
And
it's a tailgating
pickleball
sport.
is really not.
No. Pickleball has a legit chance. They're talking about it being an exhibition for the upcoming Olympics, which I think would be cool.
Oh, so putting it in the Olympics?
Yeah.
As an exhibition sport, not as a medal sport.
Right. Why not? Well, soon maybe, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
What's another exhibition sport?
Not positive. I almost confidently said fencing, but I don't know.
No,
that's
that's a
true.
medal
Definitely
sport.
medal
That is a
sport,
medal
yeah.
sport.
well,
Just like trampoline jumping.
I'm sure trampoline jumping is a medal. What?
Yep.
Stop.
Trampoline is a medal sport.
What the fuck do they do?
It's like gymnast. They fucking do cool shit, is what they do.
They just literally jump on a trampoline
Like
and
they
do
do
shit
tricks and stuff.
on a trampoline.
Yeah.
But just think of like a,
How have I never seen this?
yeah.
I remember this from it was like Wii Sports.
Well, like softball was an exhibition sport for a while, and then it became a medal sport. I'm pretty sure. And then baseball disappeared.
you have to like graduate.
So baseball used to be a medal sport. Now it's just gone. But maybe
sucks.
boxing is at one point.
That's a medal sport.
An exhibition sport.
I think it's a medal sport.
Right, but like
But formerly was.
at some point they I'm not saying that that's true of boxing or softball or anything like that, but the reason
There
for
you go,
exhibition
Berk.
sports are that
Look at bro. Bro is cooking.
wait, he's just
I remember this from.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
Come on. This is like diving without the water. Okay, you lose points for that. You didn't do anything. What kind of finish is that?
Yeah, that was easy.
Yeah, what the fuck? I could do that.
Just warming up, bro.
I'm getting in on the trampoline Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe this is was this not televised?
No, it is.
How did I miss this? Yeah, that is.
What do you mean?
Pretty
Trampoline
ridiculous.
something is pretty cool. Don't hate.
Oh, he stuck the landing. Stuck it.
Why are you hating?
I don't know, man. It just seems fucking ridiculous.
Back to poker.
Back to Brewer. I like how he tangents me for telling a small story about how I met your mother, but we get into trampoline jumping and nothing.
I just
Christ.
took logical steps to going where we don't need to go.
I definitely, even though Landon spoiled the ending, it was very surreal to see Brewer kind of like cash in his owed EV. Like, let's think about how ridiculous this is. He doesn't bust with the jacks, which is already going to be like a 1% likelihood of happening.
Pretty rare, yeah.
Then on top of that, he wins a flip heads up, which for him has been a daunting task to say the least. But the final hand,
Unbelievable.
where he gets it in ace 7
So
versus
glad
ace
it
king,
ended that way.
he literally gets flopped dead.
Yeah.
2% on the flop.
Yeah. And then it's the 8 of spades that
Right.
comes. So like it cuts out on like, yeah, you do have a backdoor, but now your backdoor is even worse because
it's dirty.
It's dirty.
You
yeah.
have 3 outs instead of 4.
Yeah.
And he just finds the magical red 6 from the heavens. Just floats right on down like, here you go, son.
I hope he just gets the 6 of diamonds like in a frame, just like blown up and just put on his wall.
Like the
do you-
micros where they put the king of diamonds.
Yes.
What?
Yes. Great callback. Wow, Landon, look at you.
I'm learning, okay?
Right.
It's not about me anymore.
And I'll tell you what, Landon, great callback because we are actually going to be joined in studio on the 21st, which I believe is Wednesday. Tag team events Thursday?
Yep.
Okay, so then yes, Wednesday. We're going to be joined in studio on Wednesday by the entire cast of the Micros.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wait, no.
Yeah.
Wait.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wait, even the one that locked herself in the bathroom?
Well, so in real life, that's actually a man.
Okay.
But yes, Balls. I can't remember all the names.
Damn.
I only remember Balls right now. to be
Only
quite
balls. Nobody cares about anybody.
No.
Just balls.
Chase was the main
Chase,
character, and then I don't remember the third one. But it's Jay Rosenkrantz and company. They'll all be joining us on Wednesday. We're gonna
Really?
talk. Yeah, because they're all playing the tag team, so
Holy shit.
we're gonna take a little
What
dive
a
to the past.
legendary group.
Yeah.
I only just found this out right now.
That's right. Everybody did. You and the rest of the world.
No spoilers.
No spoiler. Well, little spoiler. But yeah, like, do you remember? You don't remember the framed king? Was it King of Diamonds?
King of Diamonds.
Yeah.
In the micros, yeah, same thing. But yeah, really wholesome moment to see him kind of finally accept the fact that he has been chosen in the right way this time, and won basically the most prestigious bracelet that the WSOP has to offer.
Well, Chris, it
second
started
biggest
with
prize
an
pool to the main
extremely
event.
stacked field in this prestigious event. Then your seat draw at this chatter-filled final table, and then that run out at the end and quite the celebration. What is running through your mind right now?
I mean, I just feel like I just got so lucky. I mean, I don't know. It just everything today. I just felt like it was gonna go my way. I don't know why. It just nothing bothered me. It all just felt really good. Fuck, that 6 hit. That was fucking great.
Your first World Series of Poker bracelet. What does this win and this bracelet mean to you?
I mean, this is the one I want to win more than any other. Money, prestige, everything about it. It means so much, and like, I've had. Sorry, I've had so many tough ones. It feels really good.
Let's get to the good part then. It is my honor to present to you your first World Series of Poker bracelet. Go ahead and hold it up to that camera. There he is, Chris Brewer, the winner of the $250K Super High Roller. Guys.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
Brewer. That was so fucking wholesome.
Yeah.
It's literally the melty face emoji.
Max,
I promise you, I'll have the exact same reaction if I win the $500 freeze out.
It's just been such a long time coming, man.
been waiting for this all my life.
I mean, honestly,
it's
like,
awesome. Really awesome.
yeah, his
It's
reaction
all
is
about, man. It really is.
It really is great. Honestly, I don't think we get a chance to see enough of that, especially because I feel like when it comes to the high roller scene, those guys go through so many fluctuations that it literally is just on to the next, right? But Brewer's been suppressed for so long where he's just been on the straight downward trend, in spite of the fact that he's a great player and, you know, he has had cashes along the way.
The game can beat you down, you know? It can beat you down for a long time, and you're working really hard. I'm sure he is, right? And just working and working and working. And then it just doesn't go your way, doesn't go your way. And then finally you have that moment where it just all falls into place. And like
You saw last year, too.
You can see how
With
the emotions
Dan
would
Smith.
just come through.
When he won the 25K heads up.
Yeah.
But Dan's not exactly the same.
No, but he's right. Like, Dan was pretty emotional about the 25K heads up win where, you know, this guy's been at it for as
It was
long
his
as
first bracelet,
anybody,
yeah.
and he just won his first bracelet.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing with the high roller scene is that we are going to see a lot of those best without kind of crossed off the list. They're just going to have a real opportunity at it whenever they're playing these big buy-ins that are sub 200 people, which, for what it's worth, when we're measuring the, you know, the are you a good tournament player or not based off the fact if you want a bracelet, the reason why you don't really see any big names on that list any longer is because none of them are no limit hold'em specialists. You know, you're never going to see an Ivy, a Negreanu, a Helmuth, etc. on the list of best without because they all play mix.
Yeah.
So they've been playing 200-person fields since day one, you know, where for like our generation, most of the guys who are pretty well known are no limit specialists for the most part. Like, obviously not across the board. Guys like Gelfond, Jungle Man, etc. Like they play all the games, but the vast majority of us mostly stick to no limit. And the fields got big really fucking early in our careers. You know, like by 2008, open field events were thousands of people, and winning a bracelet was a task.
Yeah, it's very tough just in general.
Yeah.
You only play no limit.
Yeah, so like you're gonna see a lot of people on that list still. You know, the fact that a guy like Darren Elias, who has all the WPT championships, has never won a bracelet, is a great example of just how much variance exists whenever you're not playing these small field events. Does Chewy have a bracelet?
He does.
Yes. He won the 50K. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
That
yeah.
was during the whole ICM gate. When Salvador folded out of turn.
Yeah. Right. But another good example of like smaller field.
He also won a 3K shootout.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
that was
nice.
his first one.
Shootouts always felt like the easiest
won the
bracelet
3K.
for me to wrap my head around being able to win. It's like, okay, I'm going to play one sit and go a day, and then I'm going to win a fucking event.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of guys that play no limit that have bracelets in other fields, but not no limit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd be curious to see what the list of like guys that we consider to be great.
Like best without no limit bracelet.
Yeah. Like, does Daniel have a no limit bracelet?
Negreanu?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not positive he does.
Maybe from back in the
got
day.
He has to.
How many do you think he has? How many bracelets do you think he has?
One or two.
Negreanu?
Yeah. Total.
Total, he's got to have like 6 or 7.
No way.
His 5.
He's 5?
I thought it was 6.
Pretty confident he has 5.
I'm
But he has
looking
five
right
now.
now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident he has 5, and I would guess that he does not have a no limit.
I thought his first one was like a 2K no limit.
Could have been, but it could have been limit also.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been playing since the 90s, so like it's
He does have 6 bracelets.
okay,
Yeah,
6.
He won the
2K PLO in 1998.
Oh yeah, you got it.
I got it. 2003 shoe. So I guess this was horse before.
Well, it's less than horse.
Yeah,
it's just 4 game.
Horse prior. 2000 limit. 2000 limit.
Yep.
WSOP 2013 main event.
He didn't win the main event, did he?
WSOP Asia Pacific.
Oh.
AP.
WSOP Europe 25K high
That's
roller.
right.
Okay.
2013 WSOP.
Okay.
So he has 2 no limits.
But they're both Europes.
They're
Europe's in
they're
small
both
fields,
Asia
I'm sure.
Pacific and Europe.
Yeah.
Not on US soil.
Right.
Like when you get to there's not too many of like the well-known players that have won, you know,
You think Ivy has
2000 plus field.
think Ivy has a no limit bracelet?
Back to the phone.
I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think he does. I think he got one recently. Last 3 years.
Really?
I think so. I'm not sure, but
He may have.
He just had a bunch of FTs a couple years ago.
I know. Yeah, he final
He's
table.
crushed everybody.
Yeah, he final table 250K last year, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not super confident he has a no limit bracelet. I'm not super confident that Seidel has a no limit bracelet. And I think he has 9.
That's funny.
Yeah, Phil Ivey has 10.
yeah, it's
10.
Bro has 10.
That's a lot of bracelets, man.
Yeah.
yes, it is.
Okay, so he's got 2.5K PLO in 2000. 2002, 1500 limit, 7-card stud.
You're right, Burke.
2002, 2500 limit, 7-card stud. 2000 limit shoe. Man, they love the shoe. 5K PLO.
Okay.
2500 no limit deuce to 7 low ball.
Okay.
2500 Omaha 7-card stud mix.
Okay. That's 7.
3K horse.
8.
2013 WSOP APAC mixed event 8 game.
9.
2014 1500 8 game mix.
10. No limit bracelets
No
for
limit.
Ivy.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he got heads up in the 100K against
Ponakovs.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, he did.
look, he'll
And
win
again,
it.
those are the small fields.
He'll win a no limit
Yeah.
bracelet for sure.
Right.
If he plays the high roller events at some
Now,
point. Yeah.
now that high rollers have become a thing, right?
So what
But,
you're
like,
saying
that
is
was just-
it's very difficult to win 1,000+ man field.
it's fucking hard.
There was only one time he got
Very,
heads up
very hard.
in Hold'em.
Really?
Yeah, that was the only time.
Wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty remarkable. He does have a lot of deep no limit runs though. Like he got 8th in the main event. He got 10th in the main event, Moneymaker's year.
Yeah.
Or was it 9th? I can't remember.
Moneymaker's year,
He bubbled the final table.
he got
I think
like
it was
12th
10th.
or something. Yeah,
I think it was 10th.
Maybe it was actually
the nines
actual
full
bubble.
versus ace queen. So fucking sick. God, how down bad is poker right now? If
I was
Ivy
gonna
just
say,
holds in that hand,
Thank God he didn't.
Moneymaker's gone.
win that
Ivy
hand.
wins the main event.
Right.
We're in a whole different landscape. The bots would have came like a decade sooner. It would have just been over. All right, so we do need to talk about the controversy that was surrounding this 250K no limit event. A man who also final tabled it last year and got 6th in this event and seems to not really play anything outside of this.
Is it a controversy if nobody liked him?
Well, that was very understood last year. He was annoying to play with, I guess. He's very much well, it's not even just that he's like into speech play. Like he's not necessarily a Will Kassouf in that regard. He does talk a lot, but I don't think that's what people are bothered by.
Do you remember what happened last year?
Vaguely.
So, him and Hooney were at the final table, and there was just, Martin's being Martin, and Hooney just goes, "Have you ever been in a fight before?" I would have to read the whole thing word for word, but
Do you know what a fist fight is?
yeah, he's like, "You ever been in a fight before?"
You want to start one?
Yeah, he just like he was so oi.
Amazing.
Man, that's wild. So yeah, it doesn't seem like he plays a ton outside of this. There were some rumors speculating or circulating, I guess, around Twitter that he was actually banned from King's Casino for the belief that he may have been cheating in some regard, marking cards, whatever the case may
He's
be.
banned from his backers casino. Are you serious?
I don't know that that's who backs him. You can't just say things like this, Conrad. But last year, as far as I understood, at least publicly speaking, everybody was just bothered by his antics. He stands up a lot. He's insanely slow. Takes basically the full time bank every single time it's his turn to act. And the way that he seems to navigate this environment better than Vogelsang, I guess, or more acceptably so, according to the public eye, is that he's chatty. throughout the 30 seconds that he's wasting of your time pre, where Volgersang is just in the tank,
Dead silent.
right?
So he's just double annoying versus single very annoying.
Yeah, but I think for events that are broadcast, it very quickly gets overlooked how much time he's actually wasting because he's filling the void for the broadcaster. So, like, for instance, Jeff and Brent were doing commentary yesterday. And I think that from their perspective, it makes their job a lot easier when a Khabrel is there creating himself as the villain.
Just run the tape.
Yeah, right? So he's just like talking a lot. He's creating himself as the villain. He's giving them something to speak about and put their focus on as commentators outside of the actual gameplay. So he makes their job a lot easier. And for that reason, I think it gets overlooked that he's just massively wasting everybody's time anytime it's his turn to act. I mean, he exhausted the 30-second clock probably 95% of his pre-flop decisions, which is insane to think about. I mean, that's a lot.
Sometimes you just have auto folds, obviously.
So many of them.
Right.
So many of them. I mean, he acted fast so rarely. And so often the hands were just like very, very standard folds. Now, why he's doing this is, I guess, up for discussion and debate. But the internet never lets us down. And the sleuths were on the case yesterday whenever allegations of Martin being a card marker were thrown about from Andrew Robl. So Robl basically came out and said, like, Martin is unbearable to play with. He makes it for a terrible experience for both recreationals and professionals alike. And he's alleged to have been marking cards throughout this entire event. The rumors were that they had changed out upwards of 4 decks on the table that Martin was on day 2 of this event. And day 3, it appears as though all of the players came into the final table purposefully protecting themselves. We saw Chance build a chip wall between him and Martin so that his cards were not visible. The floor went to the lengths of making a ruling that no one was allowed to stand up if they had an active hand. Now, Martin broke this rule multiple times at the final table and was not punished.
Right, I don't understand.
So I'm not really sure what the purpose of the rule was.
It's like a soft rule or some sort of like...
Alex called him out on it. By the way, what a classy kid. I don't know him at all.
Alex Kulev?
Yeah, I just know he's like number 1 online right now.
Legend.
Came across so fucking well. Like, he deserves so many kudos for how he handled himself at this final table. Young kid. Very
younger than me, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's like 24, 25.
23.
Okay, 23 years old. Very professional. Carried himself incredibly well. Didn't really lose his temper when Martin was kind of goading him and trying to clearly like get him into a bad faith debate. He was just very poignant and said, like, were you here at the beginning of at the final table? Were you present? And Martin said yes. He goes, okay, then you know that the floor warned us that you could not stand up during an active hand. Period. End of discussion. That was it. Martin obviously like tried to push back, and the floor gave him a ton of leeway, which I'm not really sure why, because the rule was specifically created for him. Right? Like, you give Brewer a little bit of leeway because maybe he forgets and stands up in a hand or whatever. But like, you don't give the guy that the rule was created against any sort of leeway. I mean, a hand penalty, a round penalty, he should be punished at some point whenever there's this much speculation floating that he may be cheating. Now, as far as evidence goes, again, the internet just doesn't let us down, man. There was so much good stuff put out there. Saw a tweet by Haralabob where I believe this was the King Queen Ace 10 no, it wasn't. So this is just a clear this one the Haralabob put out. It was just a spot where it appears as though he's denting the corner of the card with his pinky nail. But it's not like super obvious. Obviously, we're noticing these things now because we think that something nefarious is happening.
Easy to like hindsight backtrack.
Right. Yeah. And then there's just so much. Like, I'm kind of putting Guapo in a terrible spot. So the video that you just, or the shot that you just previously saw was him rubbernecking, trying to look at Brandon Stevens' cards. I'm not sure why Brandon wasn't doing a better job of covering himself. This is the pinky indentation one that we were previously referencing. Just a lot of potential situations where he could be manipulating the cards in some capacity. There was another thread that somebody put out. I don't recall who. Let me see if I can find it. I mean, there's just so many assets of pros coming out kind of saying like, yeah, we noticed something bad was going on. But there was another thread where specifically the ace of spades seemed to have come in play. It looks like it was tweeted by Jay Hone. So he has like 3 screenshots from different hands. One was against Artur. I think this was with like 2 tables left on day 2, where Khabrel had the ace of spades, 4 of spades. And then shortly thereafter, he played a hand against Big Al, where he's, nose to nose with Big Al's cards. And Al's doing nothing to protect his hand.
Yeah.
Al has the ace of spades with the ace of hearts. Khabrel gets 3-bet, chooses to float with king 3 of spades. I don't know how the hand ended up playing out, but one would assume that he might have had information there. And then finally, that massive bluff that he ran against Artur on day 2, where he had king queen with the king of spades, queen of diamonds on 8-5-8. The action went Artur c-bet, Martin check raised. Artur then 3-bet on ace 8-5-8, and Khabrel found the 4-bet click with king queen high. Now this is really relevant because the board texture is 8 of clubs, 8 of spades, 5 of diamonds, and what am I hearing? Oh,
Bro wanted to get mad at one of us so bad.
I thought it was Conrad.
Wrong, like always.
Yeah, like always. So that's really relevant because the board texture is 8 of spades, 8 of clubs, 5 of diamonds. So if Khabrel knows that that Artur has the ace of spades and is 3-betting this flop, he knows he's bluffing because he does not have ace 8 of spades, and aces just isn't going to 3-bet this flop.
Right.
So there's no hand that Artur can possess with the ace of spades unless he somehow opened ace 8 off under the gun, which he just probably doesn't.
Yeah.
There's no real hand that he possesses here that doesn't 3-bet fold. So I think that that's probably one of the most damning things that we've seen where he potentially could have had perfect information. If you click to that image one more time, Guapo, sorry, from the king-queen spot, you could see him standing at a full 45-degree angle. For what? Right? Like the claims were that he wanted to get a chip count or whatever, but like, come on, bro. You're sitting right across from him. Why is this taking place? I mean,
listen, we've played a lot of live poker. Have you ever seen people ask for your chip counts all the time, right? And they look, right? Have you ever seen anybody do that at the table trying to see what your chip count is? No, they just look.
The only time people ever do that is when they have a river spot and like they're bluff catching and they're like, oh, fuck. And they get up and they're
or maybe like if you're like across the table from one another, like you're in the 2 seat, they're in the 7, something like that.
Or like a 1-9 or whatever.
Yeah, and like cash games, I could see it. Like sometimes, the big chips are placed in a way. Like at Bellagio, the flags and the yellows are very close in color if you're far enough away. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people will put their flags on top of their yellows or vice versa.
Yeah, and then you're trying to see where...
Yeah, so you just like want to stand up and make sure, because like the dealers aren't always paying the closest attention to shit like that. But like, they're 2 inches apart from one another. Mm-hmm. They're sitting right across from one another. Stand up and lean over to get that close of a view. I don't know, man. This just stinks to me. It really reeks of something shitty going on.
Some type of foul play. It's like that just doesn't happen. Like it's just not a thing that goes on ever.
Right.
Ever.
And I think the consistency there by being able to identify the ace of spades and having it happen in that sequential order kind of resonates in a way where it's like, yeah, man, maybe we're on to something here. You know? Maybe there's enough consistency there to say that's true.
It's funny because like when things line up, we've seen this before in other situations. When things line up, there's just always seems to be something wrong.
Yeah.
When it's just like the snowball effect of different things that we realize, it's just like, whoa.
Well, we're also coupling this with 4 decks being changed out, which is That never happens.
Right.
Never.
Like literally never. And, PokerGo ran a Twitter space yesterday where they were trying to get a little pregame discussion going. They had Henrick Hecklen on, who had bubbled this event and played with Martin for, almost 2 full days. And he didn't really want to go on record and saying much, but I thought like what he was willing to come forward and talk about is worth listening to.
I saw.
Are you still in this event, or did you bust?
No, I basically bubbled.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
No problem. I saw.
So give us the scoop. What's the deal? What's the deal with Khabrel? I know I got myself in some hot water earlier. Tell me what you know firsthand.
I mean, I don't know, man. He's just. I don't want to put him on blast because I don't really want to be part of all this shit. But I don't know. He's just annoying as fuck. That's just all it is, basically. Whatever.
Yeah, but does it end there? Is there more to it? Is it just annoying, or is it suspicious behavior? Hey, what's up? Good.
I think he did some of Andrew Robl's tweets. There's probably something there. I don't know.
Well, we all saw the Robl tweet. Pretty heavy stuff there, Henrick. You've played all these high rollers, probably a number of events with Martin. What you're saying is that you really don't know. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, it's not like there's any evidence, but I mean, I'm protecting my cards. Yeah, sure.
There you go. And when you say protecting your cards, what does that mean? You're trying to.
It means at all times, if I have a live hand, my hand will be on the cards. Yeah.
And you place them directly over top of the cards, just in case they're
just in case.
Potentially marked.
Yeah, basically. Because like last year, we had to change the deck on him like 4 times in like an hour. So make that what you will.
I mean, is this just a case of long fingernails, or you think that there's maybe a little bit more grime underneath those nails?
These are some great questions. I don't know. I mean, who knows, man? Who knows?
Hanks with the perfect way of kind of framing it. I mean, I think Hanks did a really great job of his line of questioning because it was clear Henrick wasn't going to be the one to say without perfect evidence that he's cheating. But, Hanks kind of alluded to, well, do you think this stuff might be happening? And Henrick's response was very telling. Like, I don't know, but if he's in a hand, I will be protecting my cards.
Right, exactly.
And
I
Hanks
have enough suspicion that I am going to take action to prevent him from having an
and
advantage.
Brent kind of dug in a little bit deeper, saying like, well, what exactly does that entail? He's like, my hands will be covering my cards in case they're marked. And I think that's like, really important. So what you're seeing here is another instance of
who folds like that?
Right. Right. And the thing is like, it's so tough for me to wrap my head around because I don't know what kind of system you would employ to mark these cards, right? Like, so he has what? He had like some dusty ass hand.
9-3 off.
9-3 off, right? Yeah. So he pushes 9-3 off to the middle and then just like suppresses his fingers down on it. Like, how does he? I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, obviously, marked cards would give a huge benefit to the person marking them, but like, what fucking system is employed where you are able to actually utilize it to your advantage?
I mean, you can just use on different board textures, right? Like if you mark a 9 and you can look at opponent's hand and not see that marking, you know that they don't have a 9.
Yeah. I guess I'm just curious, like what the codified system is.
Well, maybe it's just random in the sense of he'll remember what cards he picks, and then you can't actively pick.
Obviously, it's probably where he places the marking, obviously, on the card as well, right? So if he does it like in the middle of the card, then maybe it's a low card, or if he does it on the side, more towards the edge of the card, then it's like an ace.
Does he have one of those fingernails used to sniff coke?
I don't think so.
He does,
The other thing is, it might not have been fingernail markings too. Right. So there's a thread that we saw late this morning by Malia Miranda, and she qualifies and basically says this is a small sample, but take a look at all of this. And the thread itself is pretty telling. Like, it is a small sample, but it seems like she indicates about 12 different examples where the cards stick to his fingers.
12 different times?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot. Because it's happened. Like we all like your hands sometimes get a little clammy or something, and the cards have stuck to your hand before.
I don't think it's sometimes. I think it's all the time under those lights.
Nah, man.
Those lights are fucking hot. You get sweaty,
I don't know.
man.
I've never been under those lights.
I mean, I've played on there plenty. I've never in my life lifted a card up because it actually physically stuck to my fingers. Look what he does with the ace queen in the first video.
Yeah,
he literally goes like this.
+1.
Right.
Like
it doesn't happen very often. I think it does happen.
I mean, those are stuck.
But when you put everything else that's going along with him and what's happened with that, then it's like
those
more suspicious.
Those cards slide pretty nice, man.
Yeah, and also like, I understand what you're saying. Like your fingers could get a little bit moist or whatever, but like these are physically attached to his fingers.
They really are.
Conrad, watch what happens here. Go ahead and click play. Look at how high up.
Well, okay, yeah.
Bill's walking the cards to fold them.
I know, but I know. Like I also do know that I've been so sweaty before that my hands are literally leaking, whatever.
Sure.
And like that would happen. I'm not sure. Like if I'm pressing, if you're pressing down on the cards and then you go to lift your hand, like it's just gonna happen. It's like the condensation or the sweat, whatever the fuck you want to call it, like to the cards, it's gonna lift.
Like look, we see this next one with the Queen 2, where the same thing happens, but it seems as though he has his fingers placed in a very specific area where it's like the far side of each of the cards, and it looks like he just kind of does a double with the queen itself.
Like
right? So like,
oh my god.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't think
Is this happening to anyone else on the table though? Has anybody?
No.
Like this looks not good. I will say that, obviously.
Yeah, and then there's this instance of there's this instance with the 10-9 suited where he hits his shoulders with like the triple wipe. I mean, sure, maybe like his hands were just super clammy and
man, it's giving Postle vibes.
I was about to say this. Let's not go off.
We don't have the answers, but we don't not have questions.
We definitely have a lot of questions.
The thing is that like I'm not sure that this is proof of anything necessarily, but I do think that it's another instance of just like strange behavior.
Yeah.
Right. And like that's the biggest thing that I took away from watching him yesterday is that he refuses to put his cards on the reader. He takes up his entire 30-second time bank. He does this weird shit where he stands up and leans over opponents. He rubbernecks to get within 6 inches of seeing his neighbor's cards. All of these weird things, right? And then on top of it, it seems as though there are plenty of video evidence of him potentially fingernailing cards, and then others where like cards are just permanently stuck to his hand.
This is all after Robl accused him of possibly marking cards.
Yeah.
So possible that now he can see when someone, if those.
Oh right, just like
understand what I'm saying?
like maybe he's just putting a substance on them in hopes that the
Somebody
same
else
thing will
gets-
and they'll catch a flash.
Like pine
Yeah.
tar.
Not even just flash.
Flash,
at
but
least if he
oh
knows-
wow, yeah, like
Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay,
Yeah.
now the queen of clubs is sticky. So if you see somebody, the card stick to someone's hand, oh, that's the queen of
Yeah,
clubs.
I think that's less likely just because they get shuffled and the dealer would then have issues pitching. They would potentially stick to other cards within the deck.
That's true too.
My guess is that like he's not putting a sticky substance necessarily on the cards. My natural guess is that it's some sort of
invisible ink or
right,
something
and
like
he just
that.
has contacts
Yeah.
in.
Right.
Like that's what logic would lead me to, but I don't even necessarily think that this is indicative of any sort of like, bad behavior or cheating necessarily.
It's just spooky.
It's just another data point of like weird behavior that Martin partakes in. Add all of that with the fact that he never really plays outside of the biggest buy-ins in the world and somehow is just there at the final table in both instances. It's so weird, man. It's just like all so strange to me.
Decks being changed 4 times.
Right, and I think like Robl coming out and saying something is
Robl says nothing I've heard.
really telling. Well, it's not even just that he doesn't speak on these subjects that often. It's specifically the fact that like nobody, in my opinion, is more qualified to sniff this type of shit out than Robl.
Yeah.
He plays in
all the private games,
backroom games, all the private games. He's been in every scenario. Yeah, he's been in every scenario where there has been a cheat, someone's been found to be cheating, whatever the case may be. Like, he's definitely very well versed in these techniques and in players' reputations too, right? He's going to know going in what Martin's reputation is. Like, he's going to know when he's in an environment where he should be warned to protect his hand and things of that nature. For him to come out publicly and levy these allegations against Martin really speaks volumes, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's a nice life with his family and kids, and now he's out here tweeting about Khabrel.
Right, on Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there.
Yeah.
Except Martin Khabrel's dad. from the GOAT.
From Farrah.
Mm-hmm. Give me 1 year, I'm going to make the best course you've ever seen.
Mike McDonald tweeted that out yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that.
Melissa tweeted it out the year before.
It's never going to
It's
die.
just going to be a Father's Day tradition from now on.
For sure.
We got to get like an edit of like Happy Father's Day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bryn did get a little bit richer yesterday if the rumor mill is correct that Artur is his horse. So happy Father's Day to
to Bryn.
to all the toad poisons out there.
Yo, you can't just go out and say somebody's their backer.
What are you talking about?
I mean, you just did that to me.
Yeah, except I said allegedly and you just said
allegedly.
Sure.
Kulev is 28, by the way. We're all here with misinformation.
I acknowledge rumors where you just said things authoritatively.
Do we think the WSOP is going to take any course of action?
I'm not sure. So
what can you do?
No.
I actually told Brian, I think.
I said no way.
He won.
But
so
it's tough.
There's some precedence for this. I think it was back in 2014 or 2015 in the, at that point in time, 10K heads up championship. There was a lot of speculation of a Eastern European man potentially cheating his way through the finals. I believe he ended up beating Keith Lear in the round of 4, and Keith was just positive that he had gotten cheated. And I think the man ultimately went on to lose heads up, but he may have won the bracelet.
What was the method of cheating? Marking cards? We don't know.
It was long enough ago that I'm not positive, but I think it was marking cards. And I think they suspected that he was using invisible ink.
Wow.
And either had sunglasses or contacts, whatever. But I do recall, like, I don't want to name it because I'm not positive if it was like Bonomo that was pretty outspoken about it, but I definitely recall like the high stakes regs being very outspoken about it at the time. Twitter wasn't really as big of a deal, so it was more so like just spreading the word peer to peer. But there was a lot of controversy around that. And if I'm not mistaken, that guy's basically never been heard of again. So I don't know that he was banned.
Do we know what bro's name is?
I don't recall. You just have to find the year that Keith Lear finished 4th and then tell me who got 2nd or 1st.
Yeah.
I think it was 2014 or 2015, but I'm not positive. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Ali and Jake.
Oh, he won.
Oh, he did end up winning.
Keith Lear wins 2nd bracelet and becomes 2015 WSOP 10K heads up champion with cheating allegations.
Oh, okay. So Keith ended up beating him.
D. Tiller or Matthew Cooper?
It was not D. Tiller. D. Tiller is definitely. Wait, who did Keith beat?
I'm trying to find that.
He beat
Volpe, but it wasn't Volpe that was cheating.
So it must have been the round of 4 then.
Yeah, so it might be Matthew Cooper.
Or it could have.
He played D. Tiller in Final Four.
Okay, maybe it was Tiller that was being accused. I'm not sure. I don't want to levy allegations. Read the article. I'm sure the article will just say who it was.
Lear faced Valeriu Coca in the Elite 8.
There you go.
Coca's been a talk of the town recently as some of the players he faced in routes to the Elite 8 might have suspected him of cheating. After his win, Lear was asked about the allegations. Somebody warned me about him, and other than that, I really don't know. There's some insinuations about him, which we don't know if they're true or not, about him being barred in casinos in Prague and other places. WSOP is looking forward to it. They hired outside resources to find out if he really is. I'll let them do what they do, and they can take care of it.
Okay, yeah.
So maybe potentially Bro was cheating. He beat him and then beat everybody else.
Yeah.
It's actually funny. He won a bunch of like smaller tournaments in the same casino from like August 14th to September 14th. September 2014, sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as I know, that guy's never played again. Now, was he banned or not? Who knows?
Right.
That's the thing. We never really get confirmation of this stuff. We only get like we only know when bans don't take place.
He never
like,
cast another bird.
Right.
Ever.
So like we know Ali and Jake and others are not banned, but we don't know who actually is banned.
Right.
Right. Like, is Howard Lederer banned? Who knows? He just doesn't play anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Like, is Russ Hamilton banned? Who knows? I would guess not. I would guess he's just out of action. But like, I don't know why. I don't know why it's bad business to publicize punishing people like
Kind
this.
of seems like good business
You
if
would
you
think.
know they're cheating.
Yeah,
It's
you would
like,
think.
hey, we know this guy's cheating, so he's out.
Right.
I think. Well, I think that's what it comes down to, right? Is that, in my opinion, it seems like it would be really good business to publicize the people that you ban and just not publicize why.
Right, exactly.
Because you're a private entity. You
can
can just ban
say,
whoever you want.
Once you say why, then you have to like maybe come up with some sort of
you might have to
proof or
prove it,
something.
right?
Yeah, which
so
is
like,
harder to do.
If you ban Russ Hamilton and internally, it's because he ran the UB scandal,
right?
Or the absolute scandal, whatever, and he was just super using. But that's like reason enough for you to say like, well, we don't want this guy's business.
Mm-hmm.
He's a scumbag in the industry, and we don't want to partake in him profiteering off of us. So we're just going to ban him. If you just do that and then publicly ban and just say like, we don't accept business from Russ Hamilton for our own reasons.
Yeah,
that seems like a really good PR move,
mm-hmm.
right? And it's like, it doesn't seem like you're going to have to deal with the fallout of him, wanting to kind of like push back against the reasons why he's banned or whatever.
Right.
Like, you don't have to give reasons when you're a private entity. So I don't know. It seems like everybody would be better off if
it was public.
Actors like this were kind of shamed publicly more. But more importantly, were punished. Because I think that's the biggest concern here, is that there seems to be a lot of circumstantial evidence that Martin's not operating on the up and up. And unfortunately, it feels as though, and I don't know that this is necessarily true internally, but externally, it feels as though it's falling on deaf ears, right? To create a rule that says like he's not allowed to do these things, which may allow him to take advantage of other things that we are worried about, and then not enforce the rule, just seems like, you just want it all to go away.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you going to do when this guy just shows up to the next high roller?
Right, and that's what I feel like is going to happen. I mean, we saw it with Jake and Ali. Like, if they're still allowed to play with everything that they've done, that's pretty much known, and they decided not to act, then I can't see them acting so swiftly that they're going to ban him from playing the next event or the main event or whatever this year.
Right.
So I think they'll.
No, I mean that's valid.
With Jake and Ali,
right?
Well, we don't know. We don't know what they did on WSOP.com.
Sure,
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I would suspect that they were probably RTAing it, but again, that's just having played with them and using my best ability to infer from the other information that's out there. I don't see why they would be using it on one and not the other.
Right.
But yeah, I understand. And Efro makes a point that I think that is probably the ultimate crux around it. He says there's a huge lawsuit issue with banning people. For Magic the Gathering, they had to delete the list and scrub from the internet everybody who is and would eventually be banned. I don't know if that's maybe more so because, well, I don't know how Magic the Gathering works. I don't know if like the tours or the tournaments or whatever are necessarily private entities the way that WSOP and Caesars Entertainment and things like that are. But I do know that, to his point, it's not like we know the blackballed list of blackjack players in Vegas.
Right.
That's not public.
I loved Magic the Gathering.
Okay.
Great.
I have a belly button.
Efro was a legend. I used to play Magic back in the day when Efro was a pro.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Wow.
Looked up to him.
Wow.
Look how far we've
Look
come.
how far. Full circle.
Yeah.
Full circle.
I mean, that's saying that Efro looks up to Landy.
No.
No. just full circle that they are in the same vicinity again.
Yeah.
So I guess the last point that I want to touch on, now that we've kind of laid out all the info, is the public perception now of Martin Khabrel. So I think that there are two sides. And granted, I'm gonna use my man Dankness as a bit of a fall guy here, and I don't mean it that way because I think he's walked it back. But it is a conversation worth having because I think that there is part of this industry that views it this way. So we have the Dan Smiths of the world who, you know, when he busted, he wished everybody else good luck and basically looked at Martin and said, I hope you get banned or barred, whatever. And then there was the initial message out of Dankness's tweet that basically said, like, look, you know, if he's cheating, that's bad. Obviously, he should be punished for that. But this guy provided more entertainment in 15 minutes yesterday on stream than I've seen out of the majority of the high stakes community in the last few years. What do we think about his antics as far as a viewing experience go versus what it takes away from the experience for, you know, recreationals, professionals alike?
Look, man, he's funny. Like, don't get me wrong, he's fucking annoying as shit.
Yeah.
And like he shoots every fucking 1 to 2 seconds, but he hits some, and some are actually really fucking funny. But at the same time, it's just ruining the experience for everybody else, and it's just, I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie. I saw 10 seconds of the live stream and I never wanted to turn it off faster.
Really?
Never wanted to turn it off
You're
faster.
such a purist.
Yeah, it's just different type of people.
Right.
Like different people, different folks, different strokes.
Yeah,
Like this is something like I think that for media, like for people watching, kind of entertaining. You know, I was sitting in a room with 4 or 5 people yesterday watching it, and I was just like, everybody hated him so much, but at the same time, everybody was just like,
Couldn't stop watching.
everybody just laughs and giggles at his stupid ass shit every once in a while. So like, yeah, it was entertaining and probably most.
Yeah, I think if the cheating allegations weren't there, just like that was removed, that wasn't even a thing, and he was just who he was, he'd be very polarizing, right? You'd have people who love him, think he's great for the game, entertaining, and then you'd have people who say he's annoying, he's terrible, he makes experience bad. So that's just where he would be. Whereas when you add the cheating in, now it's just like, I think the majority, well, as we can see, I think our poll says about 2 to 1 think he did cheat. That
Right.
They are going to want him to be removed from the game.
I don't think the debate on like clearly he's just just whether or not.
Right.
Well, I think also within the realm of annoying, at what point does he cross lines? Where does he go out of bounds, in your opinion?
As a viewer, I think I can see the entertainment.
Yeah.
But it's his right. He gets 30 seconds to act pre-flop,
Right.
or whatever.
Right. He's still
every
not doing
hand.
anything out of the
It's
rules
his
at
right
that
to be
point.
fucking annoying. Like this could all be. He could be like playing a game. Like honestly, it could just like trying to put things into his favor.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think the standing up is the only thing that crosses the line.
Absolutely.
Only because
the rule was in place.
No, well, I mean the rule was made yesterday.
Right.
Really,
Because of.
right. So it's like, in general, I don't even think standing up is a problem, but I think it's a problem potentially with him because there is allegations that he could be gaining an unfair edge.
Dude, he said, "Why can't I stand? Why is this a rule?" Chance says, "Well,
Made it specifically for you.
they made the rule for you to protect us."
Let us know if you have any more questions.
I was dead.
Chance is really good at that.
I
shit.
was fucking dead when he said that shit.
But yeah, so it's weird because I think the 30-second thing is so fucking egregious that that's the crux of what makes. So I think Dankness's I think Dankness's point of he's very entertaining. This is one of the most entertaining things that we've seen out of the high stakes community in a long time. It's not necessarily wrong, right? And I was talking to him about this a little bit yesterday. It's very unfair to everybody, the production, the community, the players, everybody, where we live in this weird duality where there are two brands of poker. There's this level of elite players who are just the best at what they do, and they're generally on display in a tournament format with relatively short stacks at final tables playing for infinite money.
Yep, sounds about right.
And that's like version 1, right? And then there's this other version where it's like bar league poker where nobody adheres to any sort of like rules or strategy. It's just a bunch of shit flinging and deep stacks and a lot of chaos with tons of big pots and a bunch of money exchanging hands. And that's what we see with like the Hustler live streams on Fridays, right? These two worlds cannot coexist. Or I should say these two worlds can't really overlap very well without there being some level of, pushback from the viewing audience, right? So from a production standpoint, you need to understand which of these two worlds you're living in whenever you're putting your product out. And I think everybody gets that pretty well. When you're talking about Triton and PokerGo, they understand that they're highlighting the best of the best, and they're trying to do so in a way that will basically cater to diehards, right? And when you have Hustler, it's like, well, you understand that you're kind of catering to the everyman, pitching them on a dream that real life-changing money can't exchange hands over the turn of a card with a bunch of people who don't really necessarily know what they're doing, right? The issue then becomes, well, whatever. The issue, tell me I'm wrong. Don't at me, bro. The issue becomes whenever that gets lost in the messaging, right? So when somebody like Khabrel shows up yesterday to disrupt an elite environment, the messaging gets kind of whitewashed of, well, he's really entertaining. He's putting on a show. He's the nemesis of everyone. He's the villain. He's the one that we can put our attention on. When in reality, he's actually just kind of hurting the product, right? Because now, rather than putting the attention on the elite group that you have and the high level of poker that's being played, you're reducing it down to the antics of Khabrel.
It's a Happy Gilmore situation.
Sort of.
Right?
I mean, sort of, right?
Yeah.
So, like, there was a point where Brewer was using his time bank strategically to, like, tank his way into the next level so that the other short stack would get hit with the big blind. And, some of the messaging around that is, like, is this okay? Right? Like, it feels a little bit out of line. It feels a little bit slimy, like, whatever the case may be. When there's a guy right to his left who's taking 30 seconds to act pre-flop every single decision and is just doing so by asking Alex if he can be invited to his fan club over and over and over again, right? So it's a weird thing where we kind of like take our eye off the ball and forget that, like, look, it's a $250K buy-in with all professionals at the final table and $5 million up top. This is just an elite product. That has to be the way that it's pushed off. And you have to look at somebody like Khabrel and say, like, this guy is not adding to the product. He's taking away from the shine of how prestigious this event is. And you kind of, unfortunately, you're kind of handed the task as the broadcaster to do so. Like you said in Happy Gilmore, it's weird to compare it to Happy Gilmore because, like, the idea of Happy Gilmore is that he took a stuffy sport like golf and made it fun.
Yeah, well, it was just like, you have like the execs at the top of the PGA and like, should we ban him? We need to ban him from the sport because he's making a mockery of our prestigious event.
Right. And we don't want to get into the world where there's no room for character and color and people who can make the environment more fun. But the point is that we don't want that stealing the show. Right. Not whenever you're putting out the elite polished product, right? You don't want to get it to the point where it's a bigger deal if you're barking on TV than if you're playing good poker, right? I think that we have to start making hard choices as production companies of knowing what product it is that you're putting out. And when you're displaying the best of the best, you should be putting it out as some level of prestige. And you should be pushing against people who take away from that prestige. Whenever you're putting out a loose, fun cash game with quadruple straddles and, people playing the 7-deuce game and spinning the wheel of pain and everything else, then yeah, you highlight all of that stuff. And you let the poker kind of be the vehicle that drives the narratives and the storylines in the background. But we can't really live in a world where you just do both. You can't put out this elite polished product and then amplify the guy who's ultimately kind of tearing it down.
I'm on the fence of what you just said.
Go on.
So you just said basically that there's no room for both of them?
Well, what I'm saying is that there's no room to allow the antics to overtake the poker whenever you're putting out the polished product. But there's plenty of room.
That's not their choice.
Well, you want the
It's a production choice.
You want the focus to be on poker, not drama.
Right.
But like you have that man mic'd up at a table. Like you can't tell him to shut up.
No, but there's a million things you can do.
You mute his mic the whole time?
You can mute his mic.
Sure.
I mean, there's infinite things that you could do as the production team.
And that
right?
just ruins the production.
I don't think that they should mute his mic.
Yeah, no,
that's not what I'm suggesting.
All that would ruin the production, though.
Why?
I mean, if they were to mute his mic, all you see is this fucking guy talking for 9 hours and no words.
Well, the camera shot's not. Well,
yeah, you can't say all of that will ruin the production and then point to one single thing that you could do. I'm not suggesting necessarily that they mute his mic. Right? I'm more so suggesting that they change the tone in the commentary. And rather than celebrate his behavior because the everyman will appreciate it more, you condemn it because it's very disruptive. And the entire field has now spoken out against it. When you have a 61-person field and 25 of them tweet publicly that this guy's a problem, that's enough for you to like listen to the peers and say like, okay, they're more qualified than me to speak on this, in my opinion.
Yeah, but if there's no cheating involved, then like, what can you do?
What if you replace Khabrel with Person?
What can you do?
I still think the same thing.
But like Person does like the whole double bird stuff, right? Like you bring some things back, some character back. You still think like there's no place for it, or
it's not that there's no place for it. I just wouldn't amplify it.
But you just have no choice, kind of. It's there.
That doesn't mean you have to amplify it.
I mean, you're just speaking from the commentary booth.
Commentary, production, the shots, everything, right? Like you make a choice. You make a choice whenever the product comes out as to what it is that you want to put a hyper focus on, right? I mean, this happens all the time. In a perfect example, when Deshaun Watson came back for the Cleveland Browns, they mentioned the allegations one time at the opening of the broadcast, and that was it. And they like went out of their way to not even really mention him or highlight him that much as the player, in spite of the fact that he was the number one storyline of that game, right? That was a conscious choice by the NFL. They're very brand aware. They're super focused on making that go away rather than amplifying it and continually shoving it down their audience's throat. They want their audience to forget that.
So how do you do that in a game where he's going to be involved sometimes? Like mid-hand.
You just continually hyper-focus on the poker. But the whole reason I'm saying this isn't because I think Brent and Jeff did a bad job. I don't. I'm saying this because I think that it often gets conflated what the product being put out is. And I think that too often people want it to be Hustler Live. And so whenever somebody like Khabrel shows up and is disruptive, they're like, oh, great. Here's our opportunity to lose the robots for a stream and put a hyper focus on this character. But the reality is like that's not the product that you're really putting out whenever you're televising a $250K final table, right? And it's always nice to have a little bit of color, but you don't want to over amplify something for the sake of amplification just because it's different, right? Especially in this instance where, in my opinion, this guy is a net negative on the field.
Yeah, I mean, the 250K definitely feels like elite type of vibes. And then the behavior doesn't really fit the scene. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, but like the scene is who the people are that play the tournament. If this man plays the tournament, then he's part of the scene. Like, I don't know, man.
Kind of.
I kind of have this thing where, like, trust me, I thought he was annoying. I can't stand him. I couldn't fucking stand him. But, like, as I think about it longer, it's like he didn't do it. Outside of if card marking, anything outside of that, like, he didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything against
Talk
the rules.
Shit, and that's it. Like, he just didn't shut the fuck up. And, like, yeah, it's annoying, but it's part of his game. Maybe.
All right, let me take it a little further to the extreme.
Go.
Let's say he acted in the exact same way that he acted at this final table, but instead of just like not shutting up, he actually was flinging personal attacks.
But that's different.
I'm saying, where do you draw the line? Okay, so that happens. Now, how do you handle it?
Well, there's rules on personal attacks, isn't there?
Yes.
You can't personally attack somebody. You
Okay,
can't
not personal then, just like...
There's also rules on bro standing, and he kept standing.
Right, like...
I mean, that's...
Okay, so he's just like saying out-of-line things. He's spouting COVID conspiracy, or he's, going on and on about why certain religions are awful, or he's being homophobic or transphobic or whatever. There's just like a million things that a guy with a hot mic could be doing that are negative. I'm not asking this because obviously that seems like it should come with punishment. I'm asking this because now as the production team, you're forced to handle that.
Yeah, I think the difference is like, I don't know. It just seems slightly different. Like you're talking about like an attack on people, like a subset.
I'm just talking about the product that goes out.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
As the production team, you want a certain product that goes out. So it's just a matter of like, do you want to highlight somebody that's being an ass or not? Right?
Yeah, it's just I just find it hard for them to get around it. That's the only thing I think. I just don't find I just don't see visualize a way that they can get around him doing what he did last night.
He's kind of like an assy lead.
I'm trying to just find the way. Wow, this is episode number 300. Congrats, guys.
Welcome to the pod, Connie. Welcome to the pod.
Oh, wow. We made it.
This is indeed episode 300.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's it seems like a fine line. He's fucking annoying. He's really annoying. But he's also, that's part of his game, man.
How do you deal with the assy lead?
I think Conrad and I are just kind of having different conversations. I'm not saying you need to deal with it at all. I'm not saying he should be punished. I'm not saying he should be discouraged. I'm just simply saying that if I were production and I wanted to put out a certain quality of a product, I would suppress certain things rather than amplify them.
I agree. I understand what you're saying. And my thing is is it possible? That's my question.
I mean, I guess he effectively did that thing where you toe the line but don't actually cross it.
In a lot of ways, he did do things that were right within the boundaries of the rules.
Yeah.
Right? Literally taking 30 seconds every single decision. It's well within the boundaries of the rules, but it's absolutely horrific for the final product.
I think as time went on, he started acting quicker and stuff. Not sure why, but he definitely was acting a little bit faster as time went on.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just exhausting for him.
Wasn't there something with I don't remember particularly, but maybe one of you guys do, where there's something along the lines of using a time bank to make the blinds go up on somebody else's.
Brewer
did that.
And this is what I was. This was the larger point that I was trying to make, is that they were amplifying the behavior of Khabrel, a constant focus on him. The entire final table was very hyper focused on Khabrel. You had Brewer vying for his first bracelet after being, the bubble boy for the last 3 years. You had Dan Smith come back from a couple big blinds to being second in chips at one point. You have the number one online player in the world at this final table. You have Artur, who's a huge name rising through the ranks. Chance, who's literally the last kind of freestyler at this table. And then Khabrel, who's just really deep into the antics. And the major focus, we knew today what the thumbnail was going to be, and it was going to be Khabrel regardless of who won this, right? And I think the best storyline of all imaginable outcomes as far as the winner goes was Brewer coming back from being last in chips to winning this whole thing, and still he didn't make the thumb. Why? Because the amplification was on Khabrel.
If you go to the zoo, right?
This is not.
Here we go. Let him cook.
He's cooking. If you go to the zoo and you see the bird section, right? You walk past it, you look at it, it's cool. Now you keep walking, and you see a monkey fucking flinging poo throwing on his goddamn face. You're gonna stop there and watch it, and you're just not gonna move. Sure. And that's almost the same thing here. It's just what can they do? They just have to stop and watch it, man. These guys did this, these birds did this, but guess what? This guy's throwing shit at his face. I don't know. It just seems hard. It seems hard to get around it for commentary. I understand these guys have
I just think you're letting everybody off without acknowledging that it's a choice. It's certainly a choice of what gets amplified and what gets suppressed. They never once spoke about him being a potential cheater for a reason. That's absolutely suppressed by production.
I mean,
it's meant to be.
Yeah, I mean, on what's what calls they did on the spaces.
Sure, but not on the actual broadcast.
No, of course.
Okay, so you say, how can you get around things? And it's that's how you make a conscious choice to get around things.
The man is standing up on the middle of the broadcast the whole time talking shit, or just nonstop talking.
Okay.
Like, you can't just what are you gonna ignore him?
No, you just don't say anything about it.
Just cut the cameras away and turn the mic down, then bring it back when you.
Yeah, or just let him stand and then talk about the decision that's being made. Like, you amplify the poker. It's a choice.
There's ways to go about it for sure.
Correct. And again, I'm not even saying it's a good or bad one. I'm just saying I'm bringing a bigger picture to this weird dichotomy that exists where we have two brands of poker and too often we try to overlap them.
Yeah, it's not about the situation.
Right. We try to hold these elites that are playing the best and highest level poker in the world to the standard of Hustler. And that's not correct. It's just not the same product. It's not the same vision. It's not the same audience. And it seems insane to me to look at again, I can't speak highly enough of Alex. Like, this kid held his head high. He operated with full class. This is somebody that should be on display every opportunity that we have to amplify in this industry. And he will just be completely whitewashed and forgotten, right? Nobody outside of the online crushers that follow and know who he truly is are even going to remember that he final tabled this event.
Yeah, you just forget things so fast.
Right. But it's like he's a superstar. You literally have the opportunity to amplify him, make him a household name, bring him to the forefront of the conversation, highlight his accolades. And it's a tall order, right? Because it's bland and it's boring and it's only highlighted by how fucking good at the game he is and how nice and eloquent he handled himself in an otherwise chaotic environment. But again, these are production choices, right? They're choices that are made.
As far as the bottom line is concerned, production made.
It's behind a paywall.
Okay.
You know, I mean, amplify it on your Twitter, right? Amplify it.
Use it as a funnel.
Yeah, use it as a funnel, use it as a marketing, but it doesn't necessarily have to be what's on display. I don't know.
I mean, I get the point though, because someone can't just say whatever the hell they want on a hot mic and
we
let it
know
run.
for a fact that Sovrel said something that absolutely got cut in a live stream.
Yeah.
On the main event, right? For good reason. Of course, there's delays for a reason. They give themselves room to operate. And again, this isn't even a critique of PokerGo or the coverage or anything along those lines. The critique is of the overall strategy of forgetting what the actual product is, right? And trying to want to. You can't have it both ways where you just only put out an elite product and still want to capture the everyman.
I think you should keep insulting Khabrel and then maybe you get to play him heads up.
I don't know if I want to.
He doesn't get the marketing cards though. No card marking.
Seems like he's got a good fucking edge.
No card marking.
I don't know, man. I'm kind of out. Speaking about, I got to get out of here. I have a cash game to go play and maybe a 3K to go late reg.
Ooh. What am I going to do?
Berkey can't help himself. He wants to be in every tournament.
3K, 2200 or 1100?
3K.
3K?
Berkey's just a tournament player.
It's too good. Structure's good. Hour levels. Let's fucking go.
It is hour levels?
Yep.
Oh, maybe I will.
Let's go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate you as always for showing us a little bit of support. Leave your comments below. Let us know what you think of the whole situation, what you think Khabrel may or may not have been up to, if he's good for the broadcast or otherwise. We'll be back again tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Pacific. Maybe some shit will go down between now and then. We'll see you guys all then.
Probably.
Let's get it popping.
Peace.